class. So we were discussing about scalar product of vectors last time. Let's just do a quick review of that part, and then we'll move on to the last operation in vectors today, which is cross products. So in the last session we saw that scalar product or dot product, okay, it is defined by this operation, okay, and in component form it is expressed as the product of the x components plus the product of the y components plus the product of the z components. Okay. So for example, if we have a situation where say like this, and the angle between them is 120 degrees, then E dot B will become 50 multiplied by 100 multiplied by cos 120. It will become 50 multiplied by 50, or you can see the reason why that will happen is 50 into 100 into cos 120, which is minus half. So here you are using this formula, minus half, right? So ultimately this will become minus 2500. Okay, so this is the main thing. Now going forward, we will discuss about things we apply dot product for. So in physics, work done by a force, okay, that is defined as the relation F dot S, where F is force and S is displacement. So this is one of the practical applications of dot product in physics, which is going to be part of our class 11th syllabus, and we'll be discussing this very soon in the chapter of work, energy and power. But here we can take a quick look at the definition of work done, since we are doing dot product. So definition of work done by a force through a displacement S is nothing but dot product of force and displacement. Okay, so, and as you know, here force will be expressed in newtons, displacement will be expressed in meters in the SI system. So work done gets expressed in joules. Okay, so 1 joule is equal to 1 newton meter. So that is the relationship between the units. Okay. So let's look at an example of the practical application of dot product for work done by a force. So a particle moves from the point E, whose coordinates are given by this, let's say, to a point B, whose coordinates are in meters. The coordinates are given in the unit of meters. So if one of the forces acting on it during the above displacement is F equal to then find, and this is in newtons, so find the work done by this force for the displacement E to B. So just try this question out, people. Use this definition. Okay. So force is given to you directly, but displacement you have to calculate from the coordinates given A and B, and then you have to calculate the dot product. So first thing is, going from this point A to this point B, how much is the displacement going to be? So displacement is going to be the change in the x coordinate, which is 5 minus 1 I cap, plus the change in the y coordinate, that is 5 minus 2 j cap, plus the change in the z coordinate, which is 12 minus 0 k cap. So the displacement from A to B is going to be given by this vector. In meters. Okay. So this is the important concept here. So basically, whenever a particle makes a displacement from one position, let's say x1, y1, z1, to another position x2, y2, z2, then we define the displacement vector from the first to the second. We define this displacement vector as this change along x-axis plus y2 minus y1, the change in y coordinate along the y-axis, plus so this is the concept that we are using here. And once you got that, rest of it you can see is just application of definition of dot product. Okay. So this is the displacement. There is a force given to us directly. Okay, so we will use the dot product formula in component notation. So E dot B's dot product is Ex into Bx. So here it is 10 into 4 plus 10 root 2 into 3 plus 10 root 2 into 12. We can take 10 common. We can write the force this way, the work done this way, or we can approximate it as this also, whatever, but ultimately this is a method of calculating the work done. F is given to us, Akash, in the question. Only when we know the value of F from what is given in the question, then we can find the work done by. Have you understood the point, Vita? Okay. Let's look at another example. So this time we have this situation. There's an inclined plane of inclination 37 degrees. Now this block slides from this position to this position such that while sliding from A to B, makes a displacement of 200 meters. And acceleration due to gravity G is 10 meters per second square. Okay. Now, if the block's mass is 5 kilograms and a frictional force of 20 Newton acts on it while sliding from A to B. Calculate the work done by gravitational force or what we call the weight of the body and the work done by friction. Okay. During the displacement from A to B. Okay. Now in this question, from your knowledge of forces, you have to understand both the direction and the magnitude of each of the forces for which we are calculating the work done. Okay. So here you have to understand that weight is a force that always acts vertically downwards and is equal to mg. So it doesn't matter whether the body is moving vertically or horizontally or whatever way the body is moving, the weight will always act in this manner. weight is a force that acts vertically down, okay, and of magnitude mg. So consider that, okay. And on the other hand, what about friction? Suppose we denote friction with the symbol small f. It will act opposite in direction to the motion, or by motion you can say velocity or displacement or whatever, okay. So here, if the body is sliding from this point to this point, so it is having a displacement like this, then while displacing like this, friction will be acting in this direction. It will be acting opposite to the displacement at the contact point. So keep these two factors in mind over here when you are calculating the work done by each of these. Okay, rest of the things are given to you in the question. So just try out this question, people. Anybody got the answer yet? Akash, you given the work done or the force? You have to calculate work done by gravitational force. Force's magnitude is 50, but what about the work done? So see, what is happening here is, as far as the gravitational force is concerned, the force is acting downwards, and the force's magnitude is mg, which is 50 newtons. Okay. But what about the displacement? The displacement is acting in the direction along the inclined plane. The displacement is in this sort of direction, So the displacement being in this sort of direction, we have to find this angle. This angle is how much we have to calculate. Okay, let's say this is theta prime. So for that you have trigonometry. Okay. This is vertically downwards, this is the horizontal. This angle is 37. So work done by gravity will be mg into s into cos theta prime, because the angle between them is this theta prime. Okay. So this is 200 meters. So theta prime is going to be 90 minus theta, or 53 degrees. So this angle here is 53 degrees. So it will be 50 newtons multiplied by 200 meters multiplied by cos of 53 degrees. Or you can say 6 kilojoules. This is the work done by gravity. Okay, so just write down this part and similarly calculate the work done by friction. Yeah, so what about the work done by friction? Anybody's got that? In the same diagram, people, it's very simple really. If you just see the force of friction, that is a vector arrow in which direction? It's pointing like this, opposite to the displacement. और फ्रिक्शन का मैग्नीट्यूड कितना है? 20 न्यूटन्स. It's given to us in the question. So the force is like this. Okay. And the displacement is like this. So what is the angle between them? The angle is 180 degrees, no? So work done by friction will become magnitude of friction into magnitude of displacement into cos of 180 degrees. So how much that will become? Yeah. So cos 180 कितना होता है संतोष? 180 degrees is the angle, that's correct. So cos 180 will be how much? It is minus cos 0. So that's minus 1. So this will become 20 newtons multiplied by 200 meters multiplied with minus 1. So it will be minus 4000 joules. Okay. Or minus 4 kilojoules. So hope you have understood this properly, all of you. Okay, next thing. So final thing about dot products. Given two vectors in component form, dot product can be used to find the angle between them. So basically, if these two vectors are given to us, okay, then theta we can calculate from the formula. Cos theta is A dot B divided by magnitude of A multiplied by magnitude of B. So where this formula is coming from, this is because we know by definition A dot B is equal to AB cos theta. So just bring the AB on this side. So from this you can see cos theta is how much? Cos theta is given by this. So this becomes a very simple formula, and from this we can find out theta. So for example, if vector E is, let's say, 10 root 3 I cap plus 10 j cap, and vector B is, let's say, 20 I cap plus 20 root 3 j cap. We want to find theta. So you can just use this above concept and solve this problem this way. E dot B, you can see, is 10 root 3 into 20 plus 10 into 20 root 3. So it is 200 root 3 plus 200 root 3, so it's 400 root 3. Okay. Magnitude of A, you can see, is so that is 200. Magnitude of B, you can see, that is 400. Oh, sorry, 20. I must say 20 and 40 respectively. Okay. So therefore, cos theta is equal to E dot B upon EB. Okay. So theta will become 30 degrees. Okay, just make a note of this, people. Okay, people, if you finish writing down this first example, just as a practice, calculate the angle between A and B in next two examples. Okay, and with that we will finish the dot product concept. So hope the first example is clear to all of you, how we got theta equal to 30 degrees. Okay. Now just work it out for these next two examples. In fact, let's do one more after this also. Yeah, so anybody got the answer for these questions? The first one, how much you're getting? Just apply this formula, no? Cos theta, this one, is equal to A dot B upon AB. So see this one, how much is A dot B? It is 120, correct? Okay. And calculate how much is magnitude of A. Calculate how much is magnitude of B. Obviously that's 10. And then use that in this formula. Okay. So work this out quickly. Shouldn't take you more than 2 to 3 minutes. Nadeep and Gazanfar, the first one is correct. The answer is 53 degrees. So this one, theta should be 53 degrees. Now calculate the second and third one, please. No, 45 is not correct, people, for the second one. Okay, A dot B is 2 because it is, see, 2 into 0 plus 2 into 1 plus 0 into 1. Ax bx plus ay by plus az bz. So that's how much? That's 2. Whereas magnitude of A, you can see, is 2 root 2 or square root of 8. Magnitude of B, you can see, is root 2. So cos theta is equal to 2 divided by 2 root 2 multiplied by root 2. So that's how much? 1 by 2, na? So cos theta agar half hai, that means what about theta? Theta is 60 degrees. It should not be 45 degrees. It should be 60 degrees. Just check, maybe you people have missed out something. Okay, now similarly do the third part's calculation. Ghaznfar, have you understood the second part? Why it is 60 degrees and not 45 degrees? Okay, so then third part you are making the same mistake, beta. Okay, third part आपका -45 कैसे आ रहा है? No, cos theta should come -half ना? See, third part. या तो -half का cos इनवर्स कितना होता है बेटा? 45 -45 थोड़ी होता है, 120 डिग्रीज ना. अभी तो हमने थोड़ी देर पहले देखा था. Okay, so E dot B will come -2 this time, whereas magnitude of A is √2. Okay. So cos theta will come out to be -half. You substitute this. So that means theta is 120 degrees. Okay. Just to make it clear, cos of minus theta is cos theta, it's not minus cos theta. So for example, cos of minus 45 is not minus 1 by root 2, it is cos 45 only, which is 1 by root 2. On the other hand, cos of 180 minus theta is minus cos theta. So for example, cos of 135 is minus cos 45, which is minus 1 by root 2, whereas cos of 120 is minus cos 60, which is minus half. Okay. So hope this is clear, no? You have to remember the trigonometry values, okay? You should not mix up between 45 and 60. Okay, so hope this part is clear to all of you. Alright, now let's come to the last part of vector algebra. The last operation we will be studying in this chapter. Okay. And that is called the cross product. Or it is also called vector product. The previous operation we had done, it was called dot product or scalar product. This is called cross product or vector product. So the symbol used for this operation is this kind of symbol. So this is read as cross product of vectors A and B. Now the definition of this cross product is that it is equal to AB sine theta multiplied by a unit vector called n cap. Okay, so in this definition, obviously A is magnitude of the vector A, B is magnitude of the vector B, theta is the angle between A and B. Okay, but n cap, this is very important, n cap is the unit vector which is perpendicular to A and perpendicular to B, both of them. So that is why it is called the normal unit vector. normal or perpendicular unit vector. Okay. So just make a note of this definition first, then we'll discuss more about it. Okay, let's understand few more aspects about this definition. The operation A cross B gives a vector quantity. That's why it is called vector product. Okay. Such that magnitude of A cross B is AB sine theta. Okay. So such that its magnitude mod A cross B is AB sine theta. Okay. And its direction is along the unit vector n cap. Okay. And therefore perpendicular to the plane of vectors A and B. Okay. So make a note of this point first. Now second point here is that mod A cross B, which is AB sine theta, this equals the area of the parallelogram formed with vectors A and B as adjacent sides. Let's understand why this is the case. If we use two vectors A and B to construct a parallelogram with A and B as the adjacent sides, like we have done number of times before in the application of parallelogram law. So suppose this is the vector A, this is the vector B, and this is the angle theta between them. Okay. So for this parallelogram now, if you drop a perpendicular here, this height is, you can see, nothing but b sine theta, and the base below here is nothing but e. So area of the parallelogram is nothing but base into height, double of the area of triangle. So the base is a and the height is b sine theta. So it is ab sine theta, which is nothing but mod of a cross b. So that is the significance of the quantity AB sine theta, or magnitude of the cross product, that it gives us the area of the parallelogram formed by the vectors A and B. Make a note of this point quickly. Okay, now next thing, you can see that if theta is equal to 0 or 180 degrees, that is A and B are either parallel or anti-parallel, okay, then A cross B will become a null vector. because AB sine theta will be 0 because sine theta will be 0. Okay, let's do a quick example question. Okay, just work this out, people. Okay, let's work this out quickly. So mod of A cross B is AB sine theta. So that is 10 into 20 into sine 150 degrees. So that is 10 into 20 into half. You have to remember your trigonometry formulae, otherwise you will not get questions in vectors correct. Okay, many of you are making mistakes again and again with trigonometry formulae. Please remember your ASTC formulae properly. This is positive of sine 30 degrees, so that is half. It's not minus half or something. Okay, sine is positive in second quadrant. Okay, what about the second one? Anybody has got it? Yes, Ganzafar, your answer is correct. Now, second one, what does this tell us? A plus B is equal to A minus B. It tells us that A is perpendicular to B. Okay, and is equal to root of A square plus B square. So this tells us that so magnitude of A will come out to be 12. So now what about A cross B is magnitude? So it will be 12 multiplied by 16 multiplied by sine of 90 degrees because they are perpendicular. Okay. So that is 12 into 16. Yeah, correct. Good. So here A dot B is minus 50 means that 10 into 10 into cos theta is minus 50. That means cos theta is minus half, which means theta is 120 degrees. So now coming back to A cross B's magnitude, that is AB sine theta. So that's correct what you've got, Prasanfar. Sine 120. Now sine 120 will be how much? Positive of root 3 by 2. Will be positive of sine 60. Okay. So 10 into 10 into root 3 by 2. So 50 root 3. This will be your answer, final answer. Okay. So this is this question. Good. Now the final one. Just work out this question. Yeah, correct, Gazafar. Fourth A part answer will be 53 degrees. That's correct. Good. Theta will be 53 degrees. And from that you can easily calculate this. Correct. That's good. 1600 is the correct answer. Hope others are also following the same. Okay. So this statement here, what does this mean? Magnitude of A cross B divided by A dot B. So this is how much? This is AB sine theta divided by AB cos theta, and that is 4 by 3. So that means tan theta is 4 by 3. So that immediately tells you that theta is equal to 53 degrees. And once you know this, now obviously just apply the formula. Okay. So that is 50 into 40 into sine of 53. which you know is 4 by 5. So this becomes 1600. Okay, people, so hope these questions are all clear. Okay. Okay, now next thing, cross product direction. How to determine the direction of the cross product? Okay. So n cap is the unit vector in the direction perpendicular to the plane of vectors a and b. Okay. So for example, if a and b are in the xy plane, okay, so that means n cap will be either along positive z axis, that is n cap will be k cap, or n cap should be along negative z axis, that is n cap should be minus k cap, because these are the two possible directions which are perpendicular to the plane of a and b, which is nothing but the xy plane in this case. Okay, so let us understand this with a diagram. If a and b are in the xy plane, then what we can say about n cap? This or this. Okay, so let's understand this geometrically. So there are two ways we can draw this geometrically. One is that we can draw the xy plane as a two-dimensional plane like this. Okay, so in this, if vectors a and b are lying in this plane, wherever they lie, it doesn't matter. One vector could be like this, one vector could be like this, whatever. If these are vectors a and b or whatever, okay, then okay, k cap is the unit vector coming out, okay, perpendicular to the xy plane, okay, and minus k cap is the unit vector going into the xy plane perpendicularly. Okay, because z axis is coming out of the xy plane perpendicularly. Okay, or we can understand this in a three-dimensional kind of diagram. So in a three-dimensional kind of diagram, what we'll have to do is we'll have to understand that, let's say this is like a horizontal surface, like the surface of your table, okay, and your xy plane is lying on that surface. So let's say this is the horizontal surface, so horizontal plane, and a system of xy coordinates or xy coordinate axis is a horizontal plane like this. So our xy plane is a horizontal plane as shown. Okay. Then the z axis in this diagram will become which one? It will become the vertical. Z axis will become like this. So this is our z axis. So it will be perpendicular to both the x axis and the y axis. And negative z axis is going into the plane like this. So in this diagram, k cap will be like this, vertically upwards, and minus k cap will be like this. So if we represent xy is the horizontal plane, then z axis is the vertical axis. So that means that positive of k cap or k cap is the vertically upwards unit vector, whereas minus k cap would be the vertically downwards unit vector. Okay, so that's the first thing. So now you can understand that if we have any two vectors a and b which are lying in this plane, like in this diagram, suppose we have two vectors a and b which are lying anywhere on the horizontal surface. Just imagine two arrows that I've drawn which are on that tabletop, which is the horizontal surface. Then depending on how these two vectors are oriented, our a cross b will either be in the direction going up, that is along k cap, or it will be in the direction going vertically downwards, that is minus k cap. Now how we select which one of the two it is, whether it is positive k cap or negative k cap, that is given by another rule which is called the right hand rule. So we'll come to that, but first make a note of this point here. Okay, so our next point here is this. So now let us understand what is called the right-handed system. Okay. So to find n cap, that is the direction of A cross B's unit vector, okay, we use the right hand palm rule or cross product rule. Okay. So let's understand how this works. So for A cross B, okay, with A and B drawn in the plane of the diagram. Okay. For example, if the vectors A and B are drawn like this is the vector A and this is the vector B. Then what you do is place your right hand on the plane of A and B such that your thumb is along A and the fingers, the four fingers are along B. Okay, so I'm drawing roughly how your palm would be placed. So your thumb would be pointing towards A and your four fingers. So this is the thumb. So the thumb is pointing in the direction of A, you can see. This is the direction of A. And the four fingers, they are pointing in the direction of B. Okay, so once you do this, now whichever direction your palm faces in, okay, that is the direction of n cap. So in this case, you can see that just place your right hand on the screen like this. No, you will realize your palm is facing towards you. So in this example, what is happening? The palm is facing outwards. Okay, so that means n cap is coming out of the plane, is coming out perpendicularly instead of going in. Okay. So likewise, I'll show you an example where the opposite is happening. Okay, but these are the two possibilities. या तो n cap बाहर आ रहा होगा coming out of the plane or going into the plane. So how do we determine which of the two is happening? So to determine that, we use the right-handed palm rule. So let's, before you note all this down, let's look at another example. Now suppose A is pointing, let's say like this only. Okay, but this time B is pointing something like this. Okay, and we want to find the direction of A cross B. Okay, direction we want to find out. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to again place our palm such that this time our thumb points in this direction. Okay, and our fingers point in this sort of direction. So this time you will see that when you look into your hand, you're looking into the knuckles. Your palm is actually facing inwards. So in this example, you can see that the palm of the right hand faces inwards. Okay. So that means what is the direction of n cap? It is going into the plane. Okay. So in any example where A and B are drawn in a two-dimensional plane like this is how geometrically we can find the direction of A cross B. We have to place our right hand in that plane such that our thumb is pointing towards A and our fingers are pointing towards B. Then whichever direction the palm is pointing in, that becomes the direction of A cross B. So either your hand will be placed such that you're looking at your palm, the palm is facing you, or your hand will be placed like the second example I've shown, where you're looking into the side which has the knuckles. So your palm is actually facing away from you. So it is into the plane. So this is how we find out the direction of A cross B, whether it is coming out of the plane or into the plane. So hope you've understood this right hand thumb method, or this right hand palm method is called. Okay. So with this we conclude today's session. So next time we will look at some final examples of the application of cross products. But other than that, we are done with the theory part of vectors. Okay. So next time we will look at some example questions of cross products, and then we will start with the next chapter, which will be forces. Okay. So please look up the chapter of forces and after that friction from your booklets and modules, etc. Okay. So that's it for today's session, people. Wish you all the best and happy Dasera.